Neuvillette is one of the more mysterious characters in Fontaine, especially when we first meet him. He seems to be someone of great importance initially, but it's only much later that we find out how significant he really is, not only to Fontaine but also the story of Genshin Impact overall. In 4.2, my own personal theories about him were officially revealed to be true, which relates to his identity. But that's not all that he revealed. So in this video, we're gonna go through everything Neuvillette shared with the Traveler and the implications of his exposition. Before we dive into that, if you want to see more Genshin Impact content, do consider subscribing to the channel. Now, this topic is going to be filled with spoilers, especially for the Archon quest in 4.2 and Neuvillette's character story. If you haven't played either of those, then I would suggest you do and come back later to watch this video. Consider this your obligatory spoiler warning. I have speculated previously that Neuvillette is indeed the Hydro Sovereign, and in 4.1, this has largely been confirmed. While this reveal is tremendously mind-blowing, Neuvillette actually tells us several more things that may have quite a big impact on the Genshin Impact story overall. It might even reveal the truth about the Tsaritsa's plans. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. What exactly did he reveal in the first place? Well, first off, as I mentioned, Neuvillette has confirmed that he is indeed the Hydro Sovereign. If you didn't know, the Sovereigns were a group of elemental dragons that once ruled Teyvat, way before the gods came into the picture. They each carved out a piece of the land as their domain and were largely uncontested due to their immense strength. It was only when the Primordial One came to Teyvat that their reign ended. The Primordial One, wanting to create a world more suitable for humans, essentially waged a war against these dragons. Despite winning the war, it wasn't an easy fight, as the dragons were each extremely powerful and led by the Dragon King Nibelung. While most of them were defeated and technically died, because they were such potent elemental beings, they would eventually re-manifest themselves into the far future. This is what Neuvillette is. He isn't the exact same dragon that fought in the war countless eons ago, but rather its reincarnation. Neuvillette is also likely the dragon reference in Inazuma's Byakuya Koku collection that speaks about the water dragon descending in human form sometime in the future. Up to this point, we have only known Apep to have returned, while dragons like the Valin and Ashdaha were not really confirmed to be sovereigns. Because of Neuvillette, however, we now know that the other sovereigns have not only returned but also walk on Teyvat in present day. This is pretty important because it means that the archenemy of the gods have finally re-entered the setting and may set up a huge war in the future. But more on this a bit later. Aside from casually dropping the fact about the sovereigns, Neuvillette also reveals something about the Gnosis, the source and symbol of power for the archons. For as long as you have been playing this game, the Gnosis have been at the center of every archon story, but it has never been revealed what they really are. All we knew up till now was that they were given to the 7 archons when each had won their archon war respectively, and is a symbol of their sovereignty, if you will. Neuvillette actually reveals that the Gnosis are actually the powers of the dragons, taken from them when they lost the war by the first usurper, which we know to be the Primordial One. This is the first time in an extremely long time that we've learned anything at all about these Gnosis. It opens up a lot of interesting possibilities. For example, if the Gnosis are the stored power of the dragons, perhaps they are tied to the existence of Teyvat itself, and is perhaps why they exist. Given each sovereign had their own domain in Teyvat originally, perhaps their power was needed to sustain Teyvat. As the dragons were elemental in nature, their influence could be well ingrained into Teyvat itself. Perhaps the Gnosis were given to each archon as sort of a linchpin that holds each region and their particular element together. It may also provide us a hint as to why the Tsaritsa is gathering them in the first place. Because we knew so little about the Gnosis, it was initially difficult to speculate why the Tsaritsa is gathering them. But if what Neuvillette says is true, perhaps the Tsaritsa wishes to harness the power of the dragons to defeat Celestia. An even more interesting idea is that what if instead of extracting their power, she wishes to broker a deal? If you're about to go to war, it's just common practice to build up an army and a munition of weapons. Perhaps by gathering the Gnosis, she can then strike a deal with the sovereigns who we know have returned to the setting. She could offer to return to them their power in exchange for their support in toppling Celestia, who are the mortal enemies of the dragons in the first place. It also makes me wonder whether some of the harbingers are maybe in fact just dragons hiding in secret. Some of them, especially the top 3, are said to be powerful enough to defeat even gods. The only beings we know who could possibly fit this description are in fact the dragons. So while finding out that Neuvillette is the Hydro Dragon really is a big reveal, the fact that he offhandedly mentions the Gnosis and what they really are is an equally huge deal. Now, of course, I'm just speculating here on what this could mean, and the tsaritsa might have a different plan altogether. But we can't deny the fact that the Gnosis being something taken from the dragons now starts to paint Celestia in a slightly different light. There are a lot of theories that I would like to explore further, but it goes beyond the scope of this video. Let me know in the comments below what you think Neuvillette's reveal means for the story overall, and I'll end the video here. If you had fun watching the video, then do consider liking and subscribing to the channel. I'll see you in the next one, and as usual, have a nice day.